Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we're taking a look at some more of those mini PNSO figures, and today is the first time that we will be looking at some that are not dinosaurs. These are all marine animals, and we'll start over here to the left with Kel the Glyphoderma. Now I don't know for sure if that's how you say that name because I am really not very familiar with that animal at all. But then we also have Shelfie the Odontochelys and Ricky the Keichousaurus. So, three very cool marine animals, and I am really super excited to take a look at them. So you can see that, as always, they do include the background of the habitat that the creature lives in, and of course with the first two, you can pretty much tell that they're just water, but they are actually different background pictures, so there's no laziness whatsoever to PNSO's approach of their packaging. And with this one, actually, the Keichousaurus, you can see that they didn't really include the watery area, they included the actual habitat that would be around the water, so very cool, and that actually looks absolutely awesome in the background there. So let's get these out of the package and take a look at them. So we've got them all out of the package. Now of course with the package you again get that habitat picture, and the Glyphoderma has a beautiful bit of artwork on the inside. Looks really nice. Keichousaurus, of course, same deal. Really nice, very beautiful looking. And then the Odontochelys. Oh, that's super cool. Look at that. That is just, get it a little higher. That is just awesome. I really love that. That looks awesome. So without further ado, let's get a closer look at the actual figures. So taking a look here, we'll start with the Odontochelys. And look at how incredible that is. Look at that sculpt work of the head. That is beautiful. It legitimately looks like a real turtle. It honestly does. Even the top of the head, the sculpt work is just fabulous. Look at that. The little creases in the skin right behind as the neck starts to form there. And the way the head sculpt has just been done is so beautifully done. The eyes are painted really nicely. I love that there is a slight difference in color around the eye to really elaborate the eye. Kind of makes the eye pop out at you there. The overall sculpting of the head looks fantastic. Even the mouth just looks really nice. That is so beautifully done. Look at the detail of the sculpting here of the neck. That just looks fantastic. As we run down the neck here, even the underside, wow, look at that. That just looks so beautiful. And then we come out here into the front leg. You can see that the scales are sculpted really nicely. We come down into the foot. The foot looks beautiful. Really nicely done nails. Same with this side, actually. This side looks really beautifully done. That just looks so legit. Looks really like a real animal. Then we come back up here into the back. The sculpting is just fantastic all over the place. Very interesting looking paint scheme, but a very potentially realistic looking paint scheme. Definitely a realistic color, that's for sure. And then we come down here into the underside of the animal. Look at the detail of the underside of the feet. Even there, that's just... the detail is just non-stop on this figure. Really looks awesome everywhere. This rear leg, beautiful sculpt work done on that as well. Those nails look fantastic there also. The overall detail on the top of the animal looks great. And back here into this leg again, very nicely done. Beautiful nails on that foot there as well. And the tail is also very beautifully sculpted. Again, it's a very realistic coloration and has a interesting design. Definitely not what I would have expected, but still really beautiful. It honestly makes the whole thing just look very striking, especially when you take a step back and really take that whole thing in there. Very cool looking. And the overall sculpting and detail of this is just beautiful. Look at that detail, is just incredible. It really looks beautiful. This is definitely a top-notch figure as far as these minifigures go. Really well done by PNSO. And then we go to the Keichousaurus. We'll start up here at the head. Look at that. That's really nice. It's such a small head. And they have crammed some really incredible sculpt work into the head. You can see the nostrils there. There you go. Now you can see the nostrils. The eye is very nicely painted. It actually kind of appears to have a little bit of a gloss, so it's shining a bit. Sculpting of the detail on the underside of the neck and head looks really nice as well. Very beautifully done. Again, you can see the mouth is sculpted out there. The nostrils, the eyes, beautifully painted eyes again. No sloppiness whatsoever. Beautiful detailing on the top of the head. When we start to run down the neck, you can see all sorts of creases in the skin starting to form, and it just continues the whole length of the neck. Really nicely done. The skin detail is really beautiful on this, and you can see there's a nice wash that has been included to really bring out the detail and make the detail pop. The feet look fantastic. So does the detail the whole way down the leg. Lots of creases in the skin. Really, really beautifully done. This side as well. And then we continue down here into the rear legs. Just absolutely awesome. I really love the pose that it's in, just kind of like it's swimming along, or kind of maybe it's just chilling out on the land somewhere. Just looks super cool. And then you come back here to the tail. Very nicely sculpted. It's got a nice curve to it, and the overall coloration of this is really nice. It has all sorts of different coloration. You can see, just like, look at the top here. There are a few different shades of green included in that, and then of course some black, like that dark wash. And then we come down here into the stomach and the side, and you can see there's a lighter green. Then it gets to a hint of yellow, like a yellowish green, and then we get to a really creamy underbelly. So many different variations of color go into these figures, and it's one thing that I continuously talk about, how impressive it is, aside from the amazing sculpts that they get, but the sheer amount of paint that is included in these is really impressive to me. And this is yet another very, very nice minifigure. And now we get to the Glyphoderma, and this is probably my favorite of the three, just because it is so real looking. But let's start taking a look here at the head sculpt. Look at how nice that looks. Beautiful detailing and sculpt all over. Look at that. That wash that they've done there really brings out the cracks and creases of the skin. It really just shows off all that wonderful detail that they've sculpted into it. You see the eyes are very nicely painted. Overall, the head sculpt just looks super realistic. And up on here on the top, you can see that they've included like a very light color over wash, which is the complete opposite from the underside. And again, bringing out all that sheer wonderful detail that they've done there. Really just making all that detail pop and making the entire thing just look super realistic. They've done a great job when it comes to including these washes when they needed, and I really like the way they've done it. You can see, just looking here at the front, if you look on the inside here, inside the shell, you can see all the sorts of color changes and stuff that they've done there. There's like browns and creamy colors and like a dark green sort of color all over the place, all different variations of color. The legs are sculpted really nicely. Very nicely sculpted feet. Again, that wash is really bringing out all the detail and sculpt and just making it pop. The back here of the shell just looks awesome. That wash that's been done just really makes the overall appearance of the shell just look so cool and so real. And there's so much work that's gone into these little minifigures, especially just in the shell of this figure. Incredible, incredible work. Then we come back here to the rear legs. And the rear legs look really nice, and they're beautifully painted. Very realistic coloration here. And the tail looks fantastic. Look at the sculpting of the scales the whole way out. Really incredible work. This is definitely one of the better minifigures that they've got, and they're all really awesome, but this one is just super cool looking. And it's such a unique species. Really all three of these are, but this one in particular is just so strange looking. I'm very intrigued to learn more about this animal. The entire underside detail just looks incredible as well. I don't really know too much about this actual animal, but it kind of gives me the feeling of like maybe an ancient soft-shelled type of a turtle. But I could be wrong. It just kind of gives me that feeling. And even the detail here on the side. Really incredible stuff. PNSO, as always, just blows me away. Incredible, incredible work. So as far as the size goes on these guys, from the tail to the head of the Glyphoderma, you are looking at about 3¼ inches or about 8 centimeters. There is really no height, but for a width, you're looking at about 1¾ inches or a little bit about 4½ centimeters, somewhere in that vicinity. This isn't exact science, as they are kind of all bent all over the place. For a length on the Keichousaurus, you are looking at almost about 3½ inches or about 9 centimeters. And there's not really much for a width or anything, but we'll just do what we can. Looking at about 1¾ inches or so, somewhere in that vicinity, or about 4½ centimeters. And for the Odontochelys, for a length, you're looking at about just under 3½ inches or almost 9 centimeters. And really, again, not too much for a width. but you're looking at about a little over 2 inches, or about 5, maybe 5.5 centimeters, somewhere in that vicinity. For a size comparison, there is our friend Mr. Papo Rex, as always dwarfing the minifigures because he's very good at that. And hopefully he doesn't step on any of these guys, as they are really low to the ground and he probably won't notice them at all. But again, showing you the sheer size of these very, very tiny minifigures next to the Papo Rex. The sheer amount of detail and sculpt and paint and everything included in these is just light years ahead of what I would expect for something this size. Incredible work by PNSO. So once again, if you are looking for completely obscure species of animals, things that you just don't expect to ever get a figure, PNSO is probably the way to go when it comes to finding these type of species created in figure form. And once again, finding very obscure species right here for us to look at. Some prehistoric marine reptiles, and they all look just absolutely awesome. The detail, the paint, the sculpt, everything is done in such a superb fashion that you just cannot help but sit back and applaud the efforts from PNSO. Again, a very professional presentation overall for these figures, with the beautiful booklets and the awesome artwork showing the habitat where these animals lived. And again, the actual figures themselves are just jaw-droppingly beautiful. Like I said, obscure species that you don't expect to even get a figure, and when they do, they get one from PNSO, and they just look beyond worth beautiful, just like all of the minifigures that we have looked at so far. So once again, surefire wins on the part of PNSO, and I am just absolutely loving these minifigures. These reviews will continue on until we completely obliterate the entire box, and I just cannot help but tell you how excited I am for the rest of these, as these are all just awesome minifigures. So if you do want to buy any of these guys, I will throw links in the description to each and every one of these on the Amazon PNSO store, and I will also throw a link in the description to the overall box full of all 48 of the figures if you would like to purchase them. So go ahead and go do that. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.